Okay, so before we get too deep inside this video, the first thing that I want to say, if you come across this video at any time and you're watching this, hopefully before the 2024 draft, this is going to be for the New England Patriots. I just want to say hello and welcome, and I just hope that you enjoy. But also, just if you're able to comment, I just want to see how everybody else thinks, and just to see what I could be doing differently when it comes down to choosing prospects. This honestly is going to be my first draft, mock draft to do. And I mean, I've been told in the past, because I've made some prediction about the some of the rookies that is going to be coming out and how good of a career they're going to have. But this is just me challenging myself and see how can I put this on a paper, or how can I put this on a board and just execute some of the plans that I want to do, while there's other simulation of teams choosing their players too as well. So the first thing that we can see, I wrote down some teams needing a quarterback, and that could potentially set us up for a trade back. I think that a trade back is going to be probably the better option, just because we get more assets. Now, if the Patriots don't feel like they are in a position to where they can't miss out on the quarterback and they don't want to chance it, then that's fine. But for me, I got a list of teams. Now, the New York Giants, just a personal opinion, they could stick it out with Daniel Jones and just get a better guard and possibly another receiver or edge rusher. But the first pick, they always have them picking Malik Neighbors. But for me, I feel like if you can get Jaden Daniels at 6th through the 8th spot, I think that would be a better value of a pick. Just simply because the one question that I have on him is that when he runs out of the pocket, he really doesn't slide or get out of bounds as quickly as he should. And that's just one of my concerns when I'm talking about a franchise quarterback, is that he fights for 1 or 2 more yards, and one of those hits from an actual NFL player could be a season injury. And this year, we had a couple season injuries from a few of some quarterbacks that are on the teams, as far as the Panthers and also Anthony Richardson on the Colts. So that's just something that we just don't want to see when we're talking about young players. Also, Kirk Cousins, he's not young, but he's an older guy, and he got hurt, and you see how the Vikings season turned around. And I mean, the Browns too as well. But the Browns, I don't think anybody was hurt. They just did not play Deshaun Watson. And Joe Flacco was just the guy that got him as far as he could. So the New York Giants, like I say, me personally, I think they should target a QB. Atlanta, Minnesota, Denver, and Oakland. So these are some trade backs. I quickly wrote these, and these are most likely not set, but this is going to be, I would assume, what they're looking for when you're talking about trading back. So if I'm trading anything in the 10th round, I'm not really looking for a 2025 pick, just because you're not going that far down, and you can still get a franchise player, whether that's your QB or your offensive tackle or wide receiver, if both of those are off the board. So New York, I'm just asking for the swap. They have the 6th pick, and the 47th pick would be the 2nd round. Now Atlanta, I kind of messed this up because they have the 8th pick, and all I would be asking, depending on the Chicago Bears. So if the Chicago Bears take Marvin Harrison Jr., then that the New England Patriots has a pick that becomes more valuable, because now at 3, if Washington decide that Jaden Daniels is their guy, then in Atlanta you have now what they consider the better quarterback in Caleb Williams. You have an option to choose that. So for Atlanta, we're going to do the 3rd and the 8th swap. We're going to do the 43rd, and we also doing pick 110. With Minnesota, Denver, and Oakland, I'm not really interested in doing deals with them, but that's just a scenario if it was. With Minnesota, also I have a deal that I'm planning on doing with them, but it's not involving an actual pick. So what I've determined that we need from teams from this draft is going to be offensive guard. Now, if it's in the parentheses like tight end, linebacker, OT, and then also defensive back and corner, that just means that we have those players, but they may not be quality. Because we have a lot of quantity players, but we don't have really a lot of quality players, and I feel like that's something that we have to address in this draft, and then the best that we could in the off season. But a lot of our players for 2025 is going to be free agents. So our tight ends are going to be free agents. Hunter Henry, we may not be able to bring him back, but that's okay, because in this draft, I see that it's a potential tight end that I'm going to look forward to drafting that can possibly be a replacement for him. Mike Gesicki might be a reasonable more option. I just don't know if they're willing to pay Hunter Henry to the price tag that he's probably looking for to keep him. Linebacker, like I said, we have a ton of them, but we have to choose quality over quantity, and that's really what wins games. That obviously, if you have a team that has the best players, they're going to win more games. So we just can't choose, more players and then just hope that we win the game just because we have more of a certain player than the other team. Offensive tackle, that is something that we really don't need, but we do have to at least get something in the draft just in case they don't bring back one of them in left tackle or our right tackle. I think it's Trent Brown and Michael Wendell. QB, that's going to have to be something that needs to be addressed, because I don't see the QB situation getting any better. And they also could keep him. So like I say, this draft is just a simulation and it's just a mock for how things should go. Wide receiver, we have a lot. I think I touched this already, but we have a lot of wide receivers. Juju and Devontae Parker, I'm sure we're not going to bring them back, but who knows. Also, I think we got Keyshawn Bout, Tyquan Thornton, and we're in talks on re-signing our other wide receiver, but I'm not sure because they haven't came to an agreement yet. So one wide receiver that I see in the free agency that may be more obtainable would be Jacoby Myers. In his last interview, he had nothing but positivity to speak about the organization, and he also said that he wants to come back and play for Gerard Mayo. So that could be one of our better choices in the free agency, is bringing Myers back to the organization. Also, I believe he had like 800 yards, last season, and that's going to be more than our leading receiver had this year in Demario Douglas, which is our rookie slot receiver, and I believe he had less than 600 yards. So that tells a lot, when our best receiver is a rookie, for one, which is not really uncommon, because I think the best receiver in Kansas was, their rookie. But when your rookie leads the team in receiving and it's not much, then that's the problem. I think he had like 490 something yards of four. He had 590 something yards, and with the receiving that we have, that should not really happen. But everything was just going downhill. So I understand where it's at. Then also last draft or a few drafts, we drafted a lot of defensive backs and corners, and we've been releasing and trading them left and right. So I'm not sure what idea Bill had, but we drafted Cole Strange. We had Christian Gonzalez. We also drafted three. That was Cole. Christian Gonzalez is the first defensive back or corner, and then we drafted three more. Also, with our 4th round pick, we drafted a kicker. I'm not sure who in their right mind would draft a kicker in the 4th round. Maybe he saw something in him, but I'm just going to, I really don't want to talk more about it, because to me it's frustrating, because I don't consider myself a professional when it comes to drafting these players. But I do know that at some point a regular person can say, this doesn't seem right. So the next line, is the Pats released and retired. So we know Matthew Slater. If you haven't heard, Matthew Slater, he's retired. Also, they released Lawrence Guy, J.C. Jackson, and Adrian Phillips. So those are, two or three guys that we're going to be looking to replace. They could do it in free agency, but since we don't know what free agency look like, we have to do it through a draft. So that's going to be just a summary of that. And then also, these are some of the players that I've taken a liking to by watching a few of these tapes. And so we're just going to go over this just a little bit. So Jaden Hicks, Darius Robertson, Talise Fuaga, Joe Alt, Javon Baker, Malachi Corley, Tanner McLaughlin. I feel like Tanner is going to be, and he also from Arizona too, so that's kind of a similar reference. But he's going to be the tight end that we was looking for when Rob Gronkowski left, and that's my main goal, is to try to bring this franchise back to where they were. And I feel like Drake May has the potential to do certain things that Aaron Rodgers and Tom Brady can do, as far as passing the ball and making the plays that he needs to help his team win. Jaheim Bell, Blake Fisher, Jeremiah Trotter Jr., Jerry Jones. I think he's underrated, as well as Dwight McGlover. Those are two corners that we can get in the later rounds. Adonai Mitchell, that's my top receiver, my top realistic receiver if he falls. So at 34, because I want to draft a quarterback, but at 34, if he's there, I'm drafting Adonai Mitchell over any defensive lineman. Even though we need a defensive line or edge rusher, I would say, over anything else, because of the trade that I'm going to do. But also we got Cedric Van Pran. They list him as a center, but I feel like that's one player that has been pretty much all over the line. So he's kind of that combo guard. We got Bucky Irvin. I didn't write in here or type in here Jalen Wright, but that's most likely going to be one of my players if he's available. Also, Jonathan Brooks. I would take them before Bucky, but I think Bucky is more realistic. We have Chris Braswell, Ruka Royero, Miles Cole, Jalen Hunt, and Adissa Isaac. There's some other players that I didn't write over here, but I just didn't want a long list of just what we're looking for and the talent that we're looking for. So I did a sim mock on what I think everything should look like, and you're most likely going to say where all these other picks come from. So if you did say that, then I'm going to jump into this other mock draft, and I'm going to show you. So what I said before, I kind of like two drafts. This draft, I feel, is more realistic when it comes to picking, but that's just me, because as you can see, they have Caleb Williams, Drake May, Jaden Daniels. That's pretty much like a 1, 2, 3. And then if we go here to our simulator, let me see if I can pull this up. Okay. If we go here to our simulator, this one is it's arranged by prospects based off of someone else's opinion. I have to get that opinion. I'm really not sure who opinion it is, but they're saying that Marvin Harrison Jr. is number 1, which I'm not going to really argue at that. But number 2 is Caleb Williams. Number 3, Joe Alt. Number 4, Malik Neighbors. Number 5, Drake May. Then 6, Brock Bowers. 7, Jaden Daniels. And then you have Dallas Turner at 14. So that's what I'm saying. Like, some of these are okay, but then a lot of these, I'm just thinking that, okay, so you got a guy that can cover and pass rush, and he's fast as well. He runs a 4.4. as a line, as an edge rusher, and they have Jared Verse at 11, and he runs a 4.5, and the only thing that he does is better is pass rush. So that's kind of where I stand with all of this. And let me reset the draft to get. Okay, so this is standard off of Jimmy Johnson. They got a Fitzgerald, Rich Hill, Howard, or Harvard, and then Chase Stewart. Since they say Jimmy Johnson is standard, we're just going to go with that and just see where it plays out. But like I say, for me, I feel like this draft pick where it is it doesn't give me the option to trade players or just trade picks. So what I'm going to do first is we're going to select the New England Patriots. I'm going to put it on 40. We got trades accepted. Then we're going to enter the draft. And before we start drafting, I'm going to show you what these draft picks look like. So we got 3, 34, 68, 104, 130, 182, 229. And we have all of our draft picks for next year, so that's a good thing. So the one thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to make my first trade, and my first trade is going to be Mac Jones. Like I say, all the teams that need a quarterback, I'm not going to do any deals with Minnesota except for this one. So with me not trading back with them, I feel that I'm looking for a fourth round. Like, I'm not asking for too much. I'm just looking for a fourth round pick. And I believe 109 can be that pick in the fourth round for us. So 109 can be also good. And as you see, the trade success is a 50-50. They may take 109, they may not. And 130. So you can see 130 is a better option as it's in the green selected. But we're gonna go for 109. And in real life, I will go for 109 and then have them counter offer 130. So we're just going to offer that trade. 109 for Mac Jones. I feel like in the fourth round, 109 fourth round, you're pretty much not getting any better with Mac Jones. If you don't, or if you keep this pick and draft the quarterback, I'm pretty sure that Mac Jones has the talent level of a second rounder. He's just not in the best position now. So to put us in the best position, to put him in the best position to play with Jordan Jefferson and some other talent, we're going to see if they accept the trade. So the trade is accepted. So now we got the 109th pick with 104 and 136. So my next pick would be Matthew Judon. Like I say, I'm not against keeping him. It's just with where we are now with our current roster, where we want to move with the franchise, and also where we might be heading, which is basically the same year, maybe 1 or 2 more wins higher. I think Matthew Judon is going to walk, so why not get something this year for him and also give him the best chance? And the only thing that I can see fit, because you don't want to trade him anywhere that we're going to have to possibly face if we get lucky and get into, one of these, I guess, playoff pictures. We don't want to give him to the Cowboys. The Dolphins may be okay. Also, the Falcons, they need an edge. And I see what's acceptable is just trade him back to the Baltimore Ravens. This is where he were before. And also, this is a better offense for him. And he can also, really, adjust to this defense well and give himself a better opportunity at winning the Super Bowl. So we're going to see if they accept that. And they accept that. So right now our trade block is looking pretty even. We got the third 34, 68, 103, 104, 109. We got 136, 182. So the only thing that I'm looking for now is the trade back with the third round. Now, for me, or for a lot of people, what they may do is just wait to see what Chicago does. Because if Chicago draft Marvin Harrison Jr., then that means by the 8th pick, you're going to get Drake May or Jaden Daniels, because Washington is most likely going to choose Caleb Williams. So that's still pretty much good. And out of the two, I most likely choose Drake May, just because I feel like he has the potential to throw the ball everywhere, and he's also not really scared to throw the ball everywhere. The one factor that I see is that Drake May does not put himself on the line when it comes to running. He's willing to get outside or out of bounds, and he's willing to slide. Jaden Daniels, when I see his tape, he doesn't slide much. He can be running on the sideline, and I feel like he put himself on the line for 1 or 2 more yards than running out of bounds or sliding. So that's a habit that is not much, but that's just something I don't want to see when I'm talking franchise quarterback. So they choose Marvin Harrison Jr. So obviously what I'm going to do now, because they choose Marvin Harrison Jr., I'm going to offer this pick to Atlanta Falcons, because this pick is more valuable, because at third they need a quarterback. As we can see, Atlanta Falcons, they need a QB. That's on their top priority. On ours, we need a quarterback. That's on our top priority. But I feel like we can get one at the 8th spot. So with them needing a quarterback, we're gonna ask for the 8th, 43rd, and we'll probably say 142, just to see if they go for that. If they don't go for it, I'm happy with the 8th and the 43rd, just because we still get to draft that quarterback. But I'm also asking for that 42, just because it takes you from a highly valuable quarterback to maybe something else that you may not be able to get. So that's what we're going to offer, and we're going to see if they decline or accept. So they accept. So they thinking just like me. And before, let's say, I'll show you to let you know that we don't we're not forcing the computer into just trading the player. We're gonna do the 93rd pick, and then we're gonna trade with the Chicago. We're gonna try to trade the Chicago Bears for the 75th pick, just so you can see that they also do reject it. So see, trade rejected. So this is not just me. I guess whoever came up with this draft analogy, that they also see the value in the picks that I'm making. And as we can see now from our picks, we don't get Jaden Daniels, we don't get Caleb Williams, but the Falcons get their quarterback, and then also I get my quarterback, because I wanted Drake May. I'm not too big on Caleb Williams. I believe he's a phenomenal talent. The only thing I don't like is when he extends plays. He has the ball outwards, kind of like what Dak Prescott does. And I feel like that's why Dak Prescott fumbles a lot, is because he tries to make plays, but he doesn't focus on securing the ball as much as he does with escaping the pocket and away from the defender. And I mean, Dak has been in the league for a long time, and that still has been a problem. So sometimes it's not a problem, it's more of a habit, and that's just something that you have to live with, But Jazier Newton is like I said, this is why I like the other draft, is because sometimes this draft can be unpredictable because Jazier Newton was picked before Dallas Turner or Jared Verse. That's kind of crazy to me. But this is not a New York Jet. This is not a New York Giants draft. This is a Patriots. So I got my player, so we're going to go with Drake May. So with Drake May selected, that opens up my next player, which is pick 34. My pick 34 is always going to be that replacement for, that replacement for, I'm on the board. It's going to be that replacement for Matthew Judon, which Darius Robinson was already selected. So the one thing that I have to do now is just find that replacement for Matthew Judon. And I think the best option, I think Braylon Price is correctly where he's supposed to be at. I watched his tape and I feel like it was kind of goofy. I feel like he's light on his feet. He get pitched over a lot, and I wasn't sure why people was putting him higher. Okay, so Quinyon Mitchell, Brian Murphy. If Adnan Mitchell has not been selected, that actually may be the receiver to get, just because I think after him, Troy Franklin has been, Chop Robinson, Byron Murphy, Darius Robinson. So Adonai is still on the board with Roman Wilson. Roman Wilson is my next receiver that I would take, but because this draft board is kind of iffy, I feel like Adonai is going to be the best prospect, especially because the next edge, the best edge I would say, is the 47th overall, and we do have pick 43. So pick 43 is good. Tyler Guyton, I don't believe he's worth 27. You can pick him at 27, but for me, they have him rated at 67% pass blocking. And if we go down to Kyron Oladipo, I feel like Kyron is just better, all around. He's 80 and 93, and he's a left guard. That's one of the guards that we need, either left or right. Just because I want to upgrade City Sal or Cole Strange. I just feel like we got to just wash our hands with those picks. And then Dominic Puny. As you can see, the sub position is a multi-role O-line. I believe he played center, he's played guard, he's played left and right tackle. So you can pretty much put him anywhere, and I think he's going to be the best value. Now, he's a better pass block, better pass block, but he also is good in the run blocking. So I think at pick 93 or somewhere up in there, 104, I think 93 will most likely be the pick that we want to get him at. And I think Bucky Irvin will most likely be the pick that we want to choose with the 68th pick. Just because, like I say, I kind of want that Sony Michel back in New England. And obviously we can't get Sony back. So the best pick right now is Adonai Mitchell, which is going to be the best receiver, because after that, I don't see that many people that's going to have as good of a hands as him. So we're going to choose Adonai Mitchell, and then our next one is going to be the edge, which, I'll take Chris Jenkins or Odysseus Isaac. Like, those two are, some good players that I believe that has value. So we choose Adonai Mitchell because he fell to us. Adonai Mitchell is actually my number one receiver. That's going to be more reasonable or more, offensive guard Joe Thuney. Yeah, I think Adonai Mitchell, if he falls, that's going to be a more Chris Braswell went early too. So a lot of these players, they did go early, like Michael Penix Jr. But I feel like if you need a quarterback, then go for it. But I don't think the Colts need one. I had to look at their roster again. Lad McConkey went early, and then Amarius Mims, Jordan Morgan. I think you can say that that's pretty good. So it's not really that unpredictable as it is. But for me, like I said, we have to find that Matthew Judon replacement, and then also I'm keeping my eye on Dominic Puny or Kyron. Say his first name because I don't know how to pronounce that last name. Also, Peyton Willis is good. So if he's still available at the, one of our later picks, I'll choose him. He's more likely going to be off the board. Jeremiah Trotter as well. So we're going to have to see what we're going to do with linebacker. Also like Jerry Jones and Dwight McGlovery. For tight end, I want to choose Johnny Wilson only if he is willing to convert to tight end, because I feel like he does everything good. He's just not really let me see if I can show you, because for him being graded as a wide receiver, the only thing bad is his 40 time, which is a 4.52. If we go over to the actual tight ends and go to, I guess, the best tight end that we have on the board right now, let me go to one of the faster tight ends, Theo Johnson. If you go Theo Johnson, okay, he's in the 92% now, so he's good. And his 40 is 4.57. And they're both 6'6". The only thing they're worried about is Theo is 259, which is his weight. And that's in the yellow. But at 230, Johnny Wilson would be, in the 100%. He is an inline multi-road tight end. And like I say, I believe that Johnny Wilson would be he would be a game changer if he changed to tight end, just because he has the size already. So with me, it's really just choosing Chris Jenkins, which I think the only thing that we are looking at is his tackling is okay, his pass rush is okay. His run defense is at 86% according to the prospects, but I think Isaac is faster. Yeah, so Isaac is a little faster, and his pass rush and run defense is better. So before I choose anybody too quickly, you always just want to make sure that you get the best prospect, and Peyton Wilson is hard to pass up. I'm just going to tell you that Peyton Wilson is hard to pass up, but I don't think anybody else is going to be that person that we're going to say is going to be a Matthew Judon in the later, or replacement in the later rounds. I like Gabriel. I like Austin. And Austin Booker may be available with the 93. So what I'm looking at right now is I'm going to kind of make the okay, just did something a little crazy. I'm going to kind of make this, I guess you can say, I'm going to just try this out and just see how this plays out. And let me see what they offer. They offer a safety, the 76 pick. I want to try to just play this out, and what we're going to do, because 68, I want to take Bucky Irvin before it's too late. I don't think he's going to be available at 93, considering that right now it's only 3 running backs ahead of him. But I feel like Chris Jenkins is a multi-position. Also, Isaac. Still got Ruka Royero. And like I say, I like Austin Booker. So I think the best thing for us to do is get the linebacker that I had the parentheses by, just because, not parentheses, but you know what I mean. Because I think that we have a lot of players, but we need quality. So because Darius Robinson is off the board, we need to get that linebacker. Isaac's off the board. So, like I say, we really just betted on who's going to be available. So they took Trotter early than what I expected. Fisher early than what I expected. Chris Jenkins as well. Rook is off the board. Frazier. Cameron Crint. Okay, I was wondering when some safety was going to be off the board. Patrick Paul almost fell to us, and then Cedric Van Pran. But let me see what we need. Okay, so with our pick, Dominic Puny and Kyron, we have to really make this decision to see who is going to be of a value, and I believe Dominic Puny should be available at 93. If not, we got to do something different. I like Christian Mahogany, and also Javon Foster is a solid pick as well. He's just not as versatile as Dominic. But he's a left tackle. So it depends on what they do in free agency for a left or right tackle. But we're going to go with Bucky Irvin, 68. So Stover. Austin Booker is off. Blake Fisher is off. So we just really trying to look and see if... Okay, so Kyron just got off. Cooper Beebe and Dominic Puny is up. And, well, they chose a long time. Jalen Wright, he's off. He's early than what I expected. Xavier Leggett, guess that was a good pick. Alrighty, so we're just going to look at the trades. I'm not really interested in making new trades just because I have what I want already. And they listed Cooper better than Dominic. Yeah, which he actually is. That's 100% pass blocking, 91 run blocking. This is crazy. Yeah, he actually is. And he's a multi-role O-line, but it looks like he's slower. And Dominic Puny, actually, he's a little bit faster. So with that, you kind of really have to just take the best prospect. And I don't believe Johnny Wilson is going to be off the board anytime soon. And the best defensive back is still on the board. So Jerry Jones and Kaiton Oladipo is most likely going to be my later round picks at 36 and 142. I know that's a little bit early, but I feel like I said before, we have to take quality over quantity, and that's what we have. We have a lot of quantity, but we don't have quality. And I feel like these picks are quality picks. Like, I feel like we don't have Adnan Mitchell. We don't have a Peyton Wilson. We don't have a Bucky Irvin. We don't have a Drake May. So these are picks that, I feel like is going to, be a turning point in where we head as a franchise. So for me, this is kind of like take the best pick. I like Dominic Puny, But they also say Cooper Beebe is better, and he also does the same thing, which is a multi O-line. So if they do re-sign both left tackles, he could go somewhere else, and I believe that he may be the upgrade over City or Cole. So we're going to take Cooper Beebe just because he fell to us. So Trey Benson, and okay, so they've taken pretty much all of the running backs at that point. Dominic Puny almost fell to us at I think he was 99. So now we're choosing another one. Christian Mahogany is probably going to be a good pick, I believe. Yeah, he's a good pick. He's left and right guard. It just say he was left or right guard. Okay, I just say he just listed as an offensive guard, but he can play left or right. So we have a multi-position O-line. Then we also can choose Christian Mahogany, because the tight end that I want, which is a wide receiver, is Johnny Wilson. And then the tight end that I actually want to replace is Tanner McLaughlin, which I think he'll be around 182, a pick 182. And I don't feel like any of these are going to be eye-catching to where it's making me say, well, I got to pick. He's decent. It's not really eye-catching for me. And then plus I do have 109. So if Michael Wingo is available, why not? But I think we already have, a need for that. So for me, we got to take an edge just because that fills the void of trading Matthew Judon. Because we go cheaper, but then we also go younger. So we have to choose the best prospect. But like I say, for me, I think Christian Mahogany is just somebody that we can't pass up. Also, Javon Foster, but he is strictly left tackle, and we already have a left tackle, and we may have a left tackle through the re-sign. So Cooper Beebe is going to be somebody that we can play anywhere. So why not just get another, offensive guard, because we want to protect as much as we could for Drake May. And they chose Mike Wingo. So I think we did good though. They chose the best age. Ray McLeod for 109. We get 132 for Ray McLeod. That may be an offer to consider. I don't think that's a realistic offer, but let me see what they have as far as the board. And then let me see. I'm just going to, 109. And then go to San Francisco. And then just see if we have a need for Ray. Which they don't let me. Yeah. So they don't let me see his player profile, so we're just going to cancel the trade because I don't want to mess up anything. Let me see if... so I'm not going to take the chance. With the 109th pick, I feel like we can get some great value. And we already have Drake May, Adnan Mitchell, Peyton Wilson, Bucky Irvin. We have it says multi-position O-line, but it lists him as an offensive guard and Cooper Beebe. And then we actually have an offensive guard, which is the left or right, and Christian Mahogany. Okay, so like I say, 136 and 142 is going to be Jerry and Jones and Kayan Oladipo. So the only thing that I see fit right now is to take Johnny Wilson early while I still have a chance, because if I do 130, I am definitely not going to draft Jerry Jones that high. And like I say, I don't really agree with the draft boards on how they're ranked. I think Johnny Wilson is most likely better than any of these options that they have available as far as what he provides. So I'm just going to draft Johnny Wilson now and then hope Jerry Jones and Kyle Oladipo is still on the board, which they should be. So let's just see. Nelson Caesar, Tyler Davis, another linebacker, Will Shipley, offensive tackle, a safety, Michael Pratt. Muhammad, Theo Johnson, 2 tight ends. That's crazy. Keeling, it's another safety, Jalen McMillan, a D-line, another D-line, wide receiver, another offensive tackle. Okay, so with how we are now, we're on the clock, and like I said, I'm not going to just risk it because with the edge, there's some players that I like in this list. I just don't think that I should take them early or as early as most people would. So what I am going to do, because I have everything that I need, is choose this pick in Jerry Jones. Smith Wade looks like he's going to be the higher ranked prospect. The only thing is if you see everything that he has as far as tackling, the run defense, and all his zones and things like that, it really doesn't compare. 6 foot, still running 4.3, and his coverage is a 90. His zone is an 87, his man press. So I feel like this pick is going to be a pick for me, that he can play behind, some veterans and learn a few things. And then maybe year 2 or 3, this is a pick that we're going to say probably was one of the better picks. Wow. So it just refreshed all of a sudden. I'm going to enter back into it and start draft again. Should start us back, and it doesn't start us back to where we are. That is crazy. Okay, so let's see. All right, so it basically just started us back over. But from where I'm going to stop this at, just because I don't really feel like going through all over it again. So we're just going to go off of hypothetically speaking. So what I chose, maybe the draft was just too good and it just had to start us over. But from what I chose is, where is he? Oh, he's probably not here just because of his rank. But at 136, that's the pick that we had. At 136 is going to be Jerry Jones. And why did it start us over and we still have all our picks? Not sure. But 136, Jerry Jones. 142, Kyle Oladipo. 182, I would choose Tanner McLaughlin or probably Jaheim Bell. For me personally, I think Tanner is going to be a better prospect. He's taller. He's faster. I think he catches better. And then 229 will most likely would have been, they're probably not going to have it here as well. But let me see if I can pull him up. No, they're not going to have it here. But I believe it's Jordan Jefferson or Miles Murphy. That is one player that I most likely had my eye on and that I would draft, especially for the purpose of taking, and also Christian Boyd if he was available. So I'm just going to do that. it's unfortunate that we didn't get to see that play out. But I did think that while we were able, to continue this draft, and maybe I start doing it on the computer and stuff like that, just to see if there's something different than it just updating like that and then just restart the whole draft. But I feel like it was a good list of players that we have. As far as, like I say, we had Drake May, then we had Adnan Mitchell, and then we turned around and we got some really good picks in Peyton Wilson, Bucky Irvin. Then we also got a good draft that fell to us in Cooper Beebe. And then we was able to choose Christian Mahogany. And then we were going to pick, we did pick Johnny Wilson. We was going to pick Jerrion Jones. Kite Oladipo, I believe he was going to still be available because that was only 6 spots. Teddy McLaughlin, and then Jordan Jefferson or Miles Murphy. And if available, like I said, I like Christian Boyd. So that was pretty much it. So I'm going to put all this into one video because obviously it had to be 2. But if you have any other, like I say, if you have any other, how would I want to put this? If you have any other recommendations, or maybe I missed some players, or maybe you would do something differently. This is just for me to put this one out there so I can go back on something and say, hey, well, this is something that I would have done, and this is me putting it out because somebody else told me to put it out. So if you like this, like I say, leave a like. Always comment because I could have missed some of these players. Maybe there's a better maybe there's a better prospect than Peyton Wilson. But for me to choose the second best linebacker at the spot that we did in 43, I think that was good because we got rid of Matthew Judon. So we had to choose someone that is good at pretty much the same things that he was. He's not that great in the pass rush, but he can definitely defend the run, and he can also play in coverage. So that's something that I feel like with now every good team has a tight end. So we need a linebacker that's great at coverage, but also can stop the run, and he has good size. He is 6'4". So you kind of want a taller linebacker, and he's fast, a 4.4 speed. So, like I say, just comment, like, and, we're going to try to make another mock draft. I just don't see it right now. And we're just going to end the video.